Hi, this is Charlotte Hazard with Midline Media, and welcome to our stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. For our guest who is debating slash having a discussion with me, this is Declan. Declan, please say hi.
Hi, I'm Declan Galvin, and I'm here for the interview discussion slash debate, I guess.
Whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So before we start asking each other questions, because we are doing an interview next live stream, hopefully in November, we will have one set topic. But since it's our first one, we're just gonna start, kind of slow and just do an interview kind of way. But before I go, I want to do a quick PSA or advertisement. If you guys are interested in this, please go and subscribe to Our Free Write. They are another conservative writing source. If you have their slides, can you hit that? Thank you. See, that is their site right there. You can follow them on Twitter at rfreewrite. They are also currently in the process of setting up their own political live stream, and they have some great articles. And that's their, as you can see, that's their headline. But please subscribe to them, and please follow them on Twitter. They're an amazing site, and my friend owns it. He's great. Shout out to Edward if you're watching. All right, now that is it. So you are up first. So we each have 5 questions. This is how this is going to go. After we ask each other the 5 questions, we're going to go into depth, have discussions, and if you guys are interested, in the last 30 minutes, we are going to talk about why Marvel is better than DC, because that is something we can agree on. Isn't that right, Declan?
The DC Cinematic Universe is trash. Wonder Woman was good, but really the rest have just been horrible. Reboot the whole thing. Don't have Zack Snyder doing it. Get a decent director, get a decent something. Also, Ayn Rand is not a good thing to base your whole cinematic universe
on. I agree. And also, I want to give credit to this guy, Tyler, here. He is doing slides for me, and he's also moderating in case things get out of hand, which I doubt we will because we're both pretty chill. So, Tyler, you want to say hi?
Greetings.
And also, I have a couple of my friends here to watch, and they might ask questions later. But let's get this interview on the road. Okay, so do you want to start with your question first as a guest, or do you want me to go first?
Well, let's start off with you. It's your show.
Oh, thank you. All right, so my first question is, why do you identify as a democratic socialist?
Well, it's one of the things that gets closer to what I believe with my views. I mean, I'll be honest. When I went in high school, I was much more liberal than I was now. I think college actually made me a little bit more conservative going for the political science department and actually learning about the stuff. I do believe that capitalism does have its place, but I do think that certain things should not be run on a profit motive. We already have socialized roads, school, and the military, police. These things are funded through taxes and do not have a profit motive in themselves with their design. I think that certain things, schools, medicine, all that, should be socialized themselves, but other things shouldn't be. But because I know that I am fallible as a human, that as a society, us voting together to decide what should be socialized is the best idea.
Okay, all right. That's cool. What is your question for me now?
Well, my question, we mentioned it before, it's very similar to the first two one. Why do you identify as, well, more conservative or any, you go for classical liberal as a label as well, right?
As if you, I don't know if you know Charlie Kirk, he calls himself a conservatarian, which is pretty much why I identify as where I have libertarian views and conservative views. It's basically just because I believe strongly in our principles. I believe in our right to self-defense. I believe in free speech. I believe in just freedom individual. Don't like the government really getting involved personally. I just think, again, like you said, the government does have its place in some things, going off what you said. However, I don't want it. And also just because I'm a pretty independent person.
Understandable.
And I don't really.
I do agree some things the government shouldn't get involved in as well.
It's just like, businesses and stuff. I'm very good. I have a lot of friends that have started businesses, are young entrepreneurs, which I think is amazing. And what I've noticed is that government has overstayed its welcome, sort of say, because it is harder now to start your own business. It is harder to do things like that. And I feel like that's just something that they shouldn't touch. And so my second question, and my last 3, as I've said, are going to be more about what's going on in our political world right now. Do you have a favorite politician, or who do you admire in the political world?
I'm going to sound very cliche saying this. I do admire Bernie Sanders. Part of the reason I really do think how he was able to go against the Democratic establishment was very good, and he drew a lot more people left. I mean, there are a lot of young people who have very similar political views to me who are now motivated to get out there and actually do something. And I'm glad that we have people who are motivated to actually get involved with politics because saying down is if you don't vote, you don't get involved, your voice won't be heard no matter what. That's why also remember, people, the midterms are coming up. I don't care if you're voting Republican or Democrat, get out there and vote. It lets people know that you're there, that you want to be heard, and also it will make the people in power actually want to give money to your area and invest in your area.
Well, that is something you and I definitely agree on.
Yeah.
A shout out to my mom if she's watching. She was a school board member and just always encouraged me to vote no matter what. And also keep in mind that one of the craziest things I remember when a lot of riots were going on, they interviewed people and these people never voted. So I'm like, well then why are you upset? You didn't vote. Like again, but that is something we definitely agree on. So what is your question for me?
Well, I was just going to ask you something a little different than that.
Okay.
How have your background actually, well, led into a lot of your thinking of politics nowadays, like where you grew up and how you were brought up?
Well, basically, my father was military. So I was just always taught to, respect my elders, respect the military, there are principles I very do hold strongly in my heart. And I went to a sort of quote unquote redneck high school, but I personally didn't find it that redneck because I was in class with like a lot of like liberals, and maybe it's just me. I just didn't feel comfortable sharing my views because just didn't want to get downgraded. And I say this all the time. Blair White, who follows my channel, actually, she followed me on Twitter recently.
Oh, that's nice.
I know, it's awesome. She actually was the one that really got me into politics because she's a trans conservative or trans Republican, however you want to say it. But
yeah.
The reason I liked her, though, is because she was real and she wasn't afraid to call out people on her side, like on the right, saying you're stupid. Because some people are like, we can't call anyone out on our side. And she was just so real that way. And she's even said a few things I don't agree with, but I'm like, you know what, it's good. We can still have discussions. And just basically, I grew up in a really community place because I do strongly believe in mentorship. I actually had the honor to hear our representative Scott Taylor speak, and he talked about how he was raised by a single mom and how he had these great mentors that influenced him. And I just grew up in this community where if I couldn't go to my parents, I had other people to turn to, and it was just a community. And again, maybe that's why I'm more conservative, because I don't believe in like upper power stepping in, because I feel like individuals should step up and fix problems.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good.
All right, thank you. So these are my final three questions for you, which will go into depth a lot more, definitely. My first question for you is, what are your thoughts on our mainstream media?
Mainstream media, well, I do have some problems. We were talking a little bit outside of the podcast about how they do focus a lot on the negative. Now, part of the reason why is it's not very, well, it won't get a lot of ratings if you talk about how everything's going fine, all this stuff is going on. But I still believe that the mainstream media have a place. It have the resources to go and look into things. And that's one of the things I really disagree with Trump about, is a lot of his rhetoric that attacks the media. And when he was talking about possibly taking away, I can't remember if it was NBC, which media group he was talking about possibly taking away their White House press conference thing. But you need a strong media, and that does include independent media like you guys. You get your voice to be able to check the people in power. If you don't have that, then what's the point? One thing I actually do agree with a lot with my poli-sci teacher, Dr. Halley. I don't know if he's watching this or want me to say his name, so I'm sorry if he doesn't. That he does not like the White House press correspondent dinner because it makes it seem a little too buddy-buddy with, politicians and the media. The media should be the watchdogs who look at the people in power and it's like, do your job, don't break your promises, and just, don't be scum.
Yeah, my thing with media, again, I wanted to be a journalist for a while, but I personally am not a fan of mainstream media. I'm definitely not for getting rid of it because, that violates freedom of speech. However, my thing, and this goes with CNN and Fox News, I just don't like how we have 24-hour news, and that, because I still remember this, when I was, I think it was during the Ariana Grande concert when the
When the ISIS,
Yeah.
was it? I don't remember.
The bomb went off. Yeah.
He was
And
a lone wolf. Yeah.
I
lone
just
wolf,
I just still remember how the media ran to cover it and they didn't have all the facts, so they were just prolonging it, saying that, oh, this happened, kept repeating things, and there is definitely bias in our media, and I'm saying this goes both ways, and I just wish that it's hard for me to find a source that isn't biased. I just want facts. I don't want reporters constantly saying, this is how I feel about the situation, this is how this. I'm like, no, and I personally cannot stand CNN. I don't really watch Fox either because I don't know. I have some problems. I have some problems with Fox, but love Ben Shapiro though. He's not on Fox, but he's pretty cool. It's just I still have a lot of stories I can count where they were caught lying and did have to say, oh, we didn't, like when the little girl they said was separated from her parents, it was revealed, CNN even revealed this, they said, oh no, that actually didn't happen because the father of the child stepped out and said this girl was never separated, and the journalist just used it. And I took a journalism class in high school, and they talked about how back then, this was like the 80s or 90s, if a journalist made a mistake, they had to apologize and they say, this is the right information, I did it. And I just noticed both of our medias are not doing that. And I just wish we need to get back to intelligent media and say, you made a mistake and people do get information from you and you need to check your source.
Well, also to kind of go off that, there have been times where people will make retractions and corrections, but that rarely ever gets as much views or as many clicks as the fake news that goes around. And this is one of the reasons why I love PolitiFact, Snopes, and just generally going, that sounds fishy. Let me look this up. I do this. I've done this mostly with my conservative family, but I do this with my liberal friends a lot as well. If something seems wrong, feel free to fact check and look it up, because it's really one of those things we should acknowledge facts and what's going on.
I definitely agree. And again, as I'm saying, just the media in general, from my perspective, I just wish we could just have unbiased. And I feel like, again, maybe this is just me, news has become more reality TV, where people are getting emotional on it, where people are bickering. And like, again, if you want that segment,
it gets the ratings, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, that's the case. And that's what I say sometimes with free speech. I get mad, but then I'm like, wait, well, it's their right to say it. But as Ben Shapiro, again, I love this quote by him. People, you have the right to say what you do, however, people also have the right to criticize and correct you.
Yeah.
Like, which I agree with. So do you have a question for me?
All right. With how things are going right now with the administration and their views on climate change, do you think that the states should be able to create their own agreements with other countries like California did with the Paris Climate Accord?
I'm going to be honest with you. Climate change is honestly one of the things I do not know that much about. I am currently trying to find good sources on it.
Well, it's right now over 99% of climate scientists say that we do have some effect on it, and right now these international agreements are trying to curb it. And because we actually got out of the climate accord, China is now set to become the global superpower on clean energy. Mm-hmm. Do you think that states should try and pick up where the federal government is currently dropping the ball, or do you think that we should just listen to the federal government on this? I'm sorry if it sounds like a gotcha question.
I know it's all good. Honestly, whatever research is done, and again, I do usually like to see facts where I make my judgment. If it shows that this is what's happening, and again, I feel like, again, if the government, because I do say this, the government does have a place in some things, which I do agree with. However, when it comes to climate change, maybe having them step in wouldn't be the best option in my opinion, or maybe it would be. Again, I just need to see sources on this, unfortunately.
All right, I'll be sure to send you some stuff on it later.
What's your thought on it, actually? Go on.
My thought on it is this is something that is too big for the individual. I mean, we all make jokes about California banning plastic straws. I mean, as an individual, your plastic straw is making a difference, but for the corporations and big companies like Starbucks, that's going to make a difference. And it wasn't really just for stopping the whole climate change, but also to stop with, there was this horrible video of a turtle having a plastic straw in its nose, and just the people ripping it out, just all the blood and everything, and it's really sad to look at. And I know that is one thing that's very emotional and will get people to cry, and it's not as big as
those SPCA commercials.
Oh yeah, those.
Oh darn, those commercials.
I always change the channel on those because I would just like, I'm not here to cry. I'm here to watch Megas XLR and laugh at them destroying the DMV. But I think that we should invest in clean alternative energy. I mean, we have reached a point where coal is dying, and I feel
I do agree
bad
with you
for
on
those
that.
people. And
The coal miners, yeah. I
one
agree
of the
with you.
things that pissed me off most about the Trump administration is they got rid of a program that was meant to train people who are in the Appalachian area, which we're in for school, to help them transition from coal to tech jobs. Because there's no reason why all the tech jobs have to be in California. They can be here, some of them. We can have people who are highly trained and do technical jobs that aren't just coal mining. And
Right.
then, their kids can also then go to college because their parents will have money to send them there.
Okay. All right, my question for you, let me check. What are your thoughts? I don't know if you know Kavanaugh was confirmed today, which I personally am very happy about, but can I just know your thoughts and maybe we can talk about this a little bit?
I'm not a fan of, well, as a judge, I'm not a fan of Kavanaugh, but also it was not that good of an FBI investigation. It was limited. They only had 5 people. They didn't interview Kavanaugh or Ford, and there were 40 people who said that they had information that would be relevant to the investigation.
My problem with that though is that we don't know where these people came from, and according to Dr. Ford's former testimony, she said there were very few people in the room, and there were and again her story has changed. I'm not saying again. I watched the hearing. I don't agree with people immediately labeling her a liar. I thought that was wrong. However, it's also important to keep in mind that oh, thank you.
Stay close.
All right.
You're a little
Oh.
low.
All right.
Oh,
Thank you, Tyler.
thank you, Tyler. He's our tech guy. Thank you.
Yeah, if you could just speak into it a little bit more.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks. We'll do.
Thank you. All right. Sorry if anyone had trouble hearing. I hope you guys can turn up the volume, hopefully. But yeah, with me, this whole situation was, and again, I personally don't have some disagreements with Kavanaugh. However, Trump did nominate him, and I was just mad with how the whole situation was dealt with because they had this letter. They said don't do anything with it, and then it was leaked. We still don't know who leaked it because they couldn't find out who did that. And they just said, well, and then the whole questioning with the testimonies, there was just so many unnecessary questions asked. There were people that talked for way too long, in my opinion, and I felt like this whole thing really could have been settled behind closed doors without all these people's names getting out because Dr. Ford never wanted to be in the spotlight. She said she didn't want this out, and because of this person who leaked it, it was a whole drama fest on TV.
Yeah, well, I do think it's good that we do get to actually know about this. Like, I do get a little annoyed with some of the backdoor stuff. Like, I want, as a citizen, to be able to look into this information. I know for certain things, it really shouldn't be. Like, you're talking the drama and all that, and there have been people who've been politicizing it. Like, I know people on my Facebook who went, I don't care if Kavanaugh did it or not. I just want him in there so that he can rule this way on these issues. And that is
I disagree with
terrible. Just like, I do think with him going to the Supreme Court, they should have been much more thorough with vetting him. And the people who gave Trump the candidates for who to put on the Supreme Court were not, they were not just going, Kavanaugh is our guy, we need him on here. They had about 20 other people about who they went, we're fine with this. And I think that the lack of a thorough investigation and the fact that the limited investigation was so poorly done and was done so fast, it was just there for the people who, wanted to say, I'm not doing this until the investigation, so that they can say in the midterms, I was for the investigation before the confirmation. Because that's a big thing right now. For a lot of people, the Kavanaugh hearing is the big issue for them for the midterm.
My thing though, however, is even if they did what are they going to go off of? Because again, I'm not trying to blame Ford or anything. She didn't remember the time, the date. All 3 people that she said were at this party denied that they were there. They said, we don't remember this at all. And even her lifelong friend said this. And this is something mainstream media is not reporting on either. That Ford's lifetime boyfriend of 6 years came out and said, I saw her help someone take a polygraph test, so she did maybe lie. If that's true, again, they need to look into that, which no one's looking into right now, which I think is messed up. And she has her beach friends or whatever, her allies, it was actually said that they told her to try to change her story to make it more believable. That did come out recently. So I think Ford also needs to be investigated too, because there's a lot of from what I was seeing on TV, that was a lot of stuff was really skeptical. And when people are saying Kavanaugh like lied under oath, he never denied that he drank beer. In fact, he did say he drank a lot, which I think was good in the long run for not denying he drank.
The perjury is also with some things like he didn't know this was happening, but before the hearing, he did talk to some people about things that were related to the hearing and how this might be a problem. Now, that is just one thing. That's what I've seen online for some of it. But overall, I'm not a fan of what happened. I say the process could have been done better, even though it happened. At this point, all we can do is just live with it and hope that he is not gonna. I'm hoping he doesn't overturn certain decisions like Roe v. Wade and
that was
gay marriage things. It's like those are things that I think can happen, and I'm worried about.
Which I was watching Senator Collins of Maine, her speech on Kavanaugh yesterday, and there was a lot of misinformation actually spread about him in terms of gay marriage. And I know the misinformation when he said like, oh, he supports like Trump having all power. Actually, there was a quote she said that he thinks that for alleged wrongdoing, the president and Congress should like enact legislation to protect presidents from criminal prosecution, because he didn't believe that was happening now. But he does believe no president is above the law, and in terms he cited cases like Marbury versus Madison, saying that the president is not above the law. And he actually said most important landmark precedent for same-sex marriage. He's not going to overturn that. He did, even though like he is conservative and doesn't agree with it. From his interpretation of the law, he said that was a good landmark for same-sex marriage because in my opinion, I don't know if any of you know the Loving case where it was it was for interracial marriage. I think it was either him or someone else that related the gay marriage to that one because it didn't make sense for them to be married in one state but not in another state. So that's had a lot of senators, and Kavanaugh never said he was going to overturn that. That was misinformed.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things. It's just how he acted with lower courts. It had me worried. Like I do hope that he doesn't overturn that, and Roe v. Wade. I also hope he doesn't find a way to overturn, because those are two things that are, as a very liberal person who grew up with hippie parents and all that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like that's a big issue to me. Like, I want to make sure that's fine. It's not a big deal to me since I'm a straight white male, so the gay marriage ain't gonna affect me, and the abortion isn't gonna affect me too much. So.
He did, and also Senator Collins also did mention in Roe versus Wade that he used the example that Roe had been upheld by Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which was a case describing it as precedent upon precedent. So again, Senator Collins, who is a Republican, it does support. I think she is pro-choice. I think she made that pretty clear. But she also said from her talk with Kavanaugh and from what he said, he's not going to overturn. That was like misinformation. Again, doesn't agree with it. Again, I don't know all this. I'm just going off from what I heard at the hearing, which I watched. So we have two more questions before we get to our fun part. But what is your question for me?
All right. This is actually another states versus federal one.
Okay.
With the FCC ruling against net neutrality and all that, right now California is trying to pretty much go with the Obama-era net neutrality rules, and the federal government is actually planning on suing California over that. Do you agree with that, or do you think that states should have the right to reinstall net neutrality rules in general, or just...
That is one thing I do agree with. I do think that is a state right. I do think that the state should have a right to, because again, it's net neutrality. It is going to affect everyone, as they were saying on the news. I remember when that whole hearing was going on, where all of us in school were just watching it like, oh my God, our internet's going to die. And honestly, I thought that too. And luckily my parents were like, you're overreacting, which I was. I still.
Well, it's one of those things of, why we actually got the net neutrality rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the past, Verizon was actually caught throttling data, and then when the FCC took this to the courts went, actually, Verizon didn't do anything wrong because there's no ruling on this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny
Yeah, I
because,
heard about that.
Verizon is the one who's right now really against net neutrality.
I have
It's like,
Verizon. Sorry, Verizon, if you're listening, I love you. Please don't cut off my internet.
I don't care too much, but you give me service every now and again. You're a corporation, you do your job when I pay you. I pay you to please do your job.
Watch Verizon just shut us off right now.
I don't think the school have Verizon.
I have Verizon on my phone, so.
Yeah, I do Sprint for my phone. I think Verizon's like my home internet provider when I'm home, but
True.
I'm at school, so.
But yeah, that is something I do think. That's, again, I've done a little bit of research on it from what I've seen. I can see both sides of the argument with that one, because like both have actually pretty good points. So I'm just like, well, again, I am all for states' rights because I know personally, you know.
Well, it's really one to, what federalism is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole layer cake of politics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gotta love. Hey, I went through a Hamilton phase. The Federalist
Hamilton
Papers.
is great.
I went through a phase of Hamilton, and I listened to nothing but Hamilton. My parents can tell you that. My final question for you before we, all of us, I'll take questions before we do this. As a guy, I'm just gonna ask.
Oh, yeah, it's a question because I'm a dude.
Yeah.
I'm a dude. Let's see what the question is.
Yeah, pretty much. As a guy, like, what do you think of the hashtag Believe All Women that has recently come out?
Well, it's one of the things of, on a personal level, if I hear someone talk to me about something that happened, I will personally, if someone I knew when this happened to me, I'll believe them going okay, what happened? Let's see, how can we help you? But on a legal system, we still have innocent till proven guilty, and with that, we just have to go through the legal process. And I think that we really do need to work on using the rape kits we have if they don't happen, because those are not really used as much as they could be, and we got to test them when they are used, because there's a whole lot of them that are never tested. They go through the process of getting all the stuff, and they said don't use them properly. And also, we need to create an environment where if a woman is raped, she can go forward and actually talk about it. That's one of the big things that really upset me about the Kavanaugh hearing, the amount of people who were immediately, and this was a very partisan thing, you could tell, the people who, before any of the hearing, when he did it, and then the people who, before any of the hearing, went, she's a liar, there were people saying some horrible things, she did talk about this in her therapy, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not thinking she did this as a political move. She went forward because this guy is going for a major position of power. I need to talk about this. And you said the only reason she really got in the spotlight is someone leaked the letter.
Yeah.
We need to try and empower women to actually come forth, and this isn't just a woman thing as well.
Yeah.
I believe that everyone, if you're in any sort of abusive relationship, one of mine was not that good. Luckily, she was kind of not that strong, so she would hit me, but I thought it was more of a joking thing until my friends went, Declan, that's not good. She's just, kind of being a bit abusive. It's I think we need to create an environment where people are comfortable. And sorry about the slight tearing up. But just I know, I'm all emotional. But I believe that we need to create an environment where people are empowered to come forth with abuse against them and to say, fuck you, no, you can't get away with this.
Yeah, again, I agree with the whole innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, from my perspective with the Kavanaugh, it was guilty until proven innocent. And you could say that for both ways, because I saw when the whole thing came forward, people immediately were taking sides without actually looking at the information, which is why, when I watched the hearing, again, anyone can think this differently. I do think something happened before it. I just do not believe it was Kavanaugh who did it to her. Because, again, this is just me personally looking at it, because from what Kavanaugh said with his hearing, I thought his testimony was pretty strong, where he said he had these calendars saying I wasn't here. And again, some people have gone against that, but I thought that was just very smart that he brought that. And
I would not solve the calendar thing.
I
look at it this way: that would not be that would not be admissible in court if he was a judge and someone tried using it of I was not there. Look at my calendar. Then it wouldn't hold up in court, but I also thought it was a little bit funny how he got so emotional about calendars and just.
To be honest, again, I don't agree with people making fun of him for getting emotional, because if he didn't do this, which I don't think he did, if you're wrongly accused, because he did say he demanded a hearing the next day and said, can we like get this over behind closed doors and stuff, but they waited 10 days, and he and unfortunately more people were dragged. The creepy porn lawyer got involved, but he's I thought he's just nuts. But I'm just saying, I feel like this was very politically motivated, unfortunately, because I thought, okay, if this was leaked, they should have just dealt with it the next day, had people come out, had them get their interviews, and it shouldn't have been leaked, which I thought was just made this whole thing worse. But again, that's just my view on it. But yeah, I agree that. I just heard something. I was like, wait, what?
We have some clock towers in there, so now I'm wondering.
I wonder if anyone can hear the clock tower. That's what I'm wondering.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you when you say we do, because need to create more when women can come forward. But with me personally, I feel like we also need to create an environment to tell girls, like, if something happens to you, like, report it either the next day or something so we can catch this person easily. Because the longer you wait, unfortunately, this person is gonna get away with it. And I just want to say, look, I don't want to like shame anybody. I just want to say, look, if something happens, you need to come forward so we can get this monster arrested and put him in jail where he belongs.
Yeah. That's another question.
Oh, good.
Really.
Good.
So we've heard a lot about the blue wave. That's a thing that might be happening, but
oh, I heard about the red wave.
well, that's the thing. Right now, the blue and red wave is more up in the air, but the pink wave, what do you think about that? Because that one is a definite. The pink wave is because there are more women running for politics on both sides.
That's awesome.
On the Republican side, it's only up by like 33% last I checked when I was doing a project on like this last semester. And on the Democratic side, it's up over 3,000%. Now, this is also including state and local and federal stuff. I want to get your opinion on like more women running for office, since you know you're a girl, all that, and I want to know just what's your opinion on more women running for office?
In general, I just think it's amazing. I think anybody, regardless of gender, who is willing to step up and say, I'm going to take this leadership position, knowing I'm going to get criticized, knowing that I might get hate mail, knowing this is amazing. Like I said, one of my biggest idols is my mom, because she ran for school board and I got to help campaign for her, which was amazing. And I got to, one of my biggest honors though, I got to hear U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley speak, actually. And she's an amazing speaker, great ambassador, just great person in general. And I just think that's great. I mean, I don't agree with some people like they're making it all like we need more women. No, I want to hold women to the same standards as men, saying if you're a good person, regardless of gender, if your ideas are good, I'm going to vote for you. I just don't like, because one of the things that drove me crazy about Hillary Clinton's campaign is people say, oh, we need her, and it was just I'm with her, and I'm like, and then people.
It was a little funny how she would bring up like I'm a woman and
and I'm like, and people would just cheer. I'm like, no, I don't care if you're a woman, and I in my opinion that like demonizes women sometimes though, because it's saying vote for me just because I'm a woman. I'm like, no, like I want to know your views. That like gives you special treatment, and I don't want special treatment just because I'm a girl.
I remember one of my teachers during like the Democratic primaries, like during that whole season, one like I can't remember which woman celebrity said it. It's just like if you vote against Hillary Clinton as a woman, you're against womankind. And this teacher is a major feminist. All that,
gosh.
And she went. She's being a fucking feminazi. It's just like she's going like, because she was voting for Bernie Sanders in the primary because she is very left leaning, but it was one of the things of like feminism is about giving women choice, and so like that was just odd. But
yeah, don't even get me started on third wave feminism. That'll have to be another stream. I'll have to have someone come in here and I may have them debate me on feminism. But oh, someone already is volunteering already. All right, great. So before we start having the fun, and Tyler, feel free to join in on this if you want, and you guys can if you want to. We'll have to share mic because I only have two, with DC and Marvel. Do you two have questions for either of us? We have a couple audience members, and this is for, just say if it's for Declan or me.
Okay, it's for both of you.
Okay.
What makes Marvel better than DC, in your opinion?
Oh, goodness.
Oh.
You want me to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I do like both Marvel and DC as comic books, and I do like a lot of their animated stuff. But for movies, I think that the big thing is DC just haven't been able to really get to the heart of their characters. They've been going for more of chasing after what worked for the Christopher Nolan trilogy of the Dark Knight series. It's like dark and gritty and going for more of a like Well,
Yeah.
the Dark Knight trilogy was an allegory to terrorism and the U.S.'s response to that. I mean, my teacher did a whole paper on that, and I listened to him, and I also wrote a paper on some of that. But, Marvel is going with, well, we got these characters who,
Good character development.
they got these characters and they go into the heart of them. Like, Spider-Man's my favorite character. 'cause
My boyfriend, that's his favorite character too.
He's a guy from Queens. He's there helping out people. Like, one of my favorite things about the new one is they had a whole section where he was just dealing with petty crime. Some guy stealing a bike, some purse snatchers, like, just small things. Him being a guy from Brooklyn, helping a woman find her way around the city.
Honestly, with me, DC just has too many plot holes. I mean, not plot holes, not just plot holes, but subplots. Like, I remember I was watching. I recently watched this. I was watching Man of Steel recently because it was just. I was like, oh, it was on, so I'm like, I'll watch it. And there were just so many unnecessary things going on. There was so much product placement too. It was like Sears, and then I saw like Denny's and IHOP, and I'm just like.
I thought it was fucking stupid with the debt. Like,
try not to swear too much. My parents are listening to this.
I'm sorry. I do this a lot.
It's all good.
Me and my dad agreed it was really dumb when Superman dad just was like, stop. Put his hand out. It's like,
you didn't need to save those kids. Maybe you should have let them die. I was
my
like,
dad was like,
what?
If you had superpowers and that situation happened, go get the dog yourself. And someone says anything, it's like, you must have been hit in the head or something. My kid just ran normal speed. It's like
it was. What was the stupid thing though? When his dad died, I'm like, okay, this could have been avoidable. I'm sorry, because you're like, it was so emotional when his father died. I'm like, no. He could have been saved. That was so stupid.
It would just making a death to try and fake deepness. Like,
too much Jesus symbolism with the Superman.
Yeah, the Jesus symbolism is a different thing. But just like, this is a problem that stories have in general, where they think killing off a character makes your show or story automatically deeper and better. It's like, no, you gotta have a reason behind it. You gotta make sure when a character dies,
Thank you.
It is something like Game of Thrones does it pretty well.
I never watched Game of Thrones, so.
Oh well, most of the characters, I say it's good. I like it. I love it.
Oh,
but
real quick public service announcement for anyone watching. We do have a GoFundMe page. I should have said this at the beginning, but it is on the screen. We have $50 so far. Last I checked, we're trying to raise $150, and all this will go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and whoever to be.
Tyler, can you look see if anybody donated any more to St. Jude's Hospital?
Someone already donated 50.
That was my mom. Love you, Mom.
Ask your mom, can she donate 100?
Your mom is a good woman.
Yes,
donate 50
she
bucks.
is. But yeah, we can check. We can definitely check a little bit. Key, you got a question for either of us?
Oh, let me give you the mic so it can be heard.
I don't actually.
I don't.
Because I've just been enjoying everything you guys been saying.
Tyler, you have a question for us? Yeah.
All right, Tyler, do you have? All right, back for DC and all right, Tyler, you ready to join us in on this conversation?
No, I'm monitoring.
Oh, okay, never mind. You and I can just do it then, or you guys can jump in if you want.
I can
Okay,
give
wait,
them,
I do have a question.
One little
we do have
tidbit.
a question, actually.
Yes. Hold on. What?
Y'all are all talking about this DC Marvel stuff. Man, where's my League of Extraordinary Gentlemen at?
Get out of here!
I have something to quickly say about that.
Oh no.
There's already been one horrible movie about that, and I think it was Alan Moore. Was it Alan Moore who made League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? The
I
comic?
think so.
Alan Quartermain?
I think it was.
Well, either way, they didn't like it so much that they pretty much tried to stop any movie adaptation of their comic books from then on.
Hey, go ahead. It's your turn. What is your question for both? Which one?
For both, actually. So who has the better comics, DC or Marvel?
Oh, do you want to?
The whole thing on this.
Honestly, I know this sounds bad. I would look through the comics. I never really got into them. I was more into the movies and stuff. So you can definitely. That's all you. What do you think?
I'm not the biggest comic guy myself. I've read a few of them. I do think for storylines, DC had a lot more these iconic ones, and they have a lot of these one-offs that are great. It is not part of the DC universe, but one of the best comic lines of all time, Watchmen. That is owned by DC, and it was a critique of superheroes in general, and I still it is so great. Mm-hmm. It was on Time's top 100 novels as well, and that's what shows how great it is. And a few years ago, I didn't take the class here, but they offered a class, and one of the books they were going over was Watchmen.
Oh man!
And it's one of the things that Zack Snyder kind of got, because he was able to do that movie some justice, but at the same time, I think it would have been better if they did like a mini series instead of a movie for Watchmen.
You know what was actually pretty entertaining? I was scrolling through my Facebook feed and I saw somebody and he got burned. He said Green Lantern was a good movie, changed my mind, and I was like,
I think Ryan Reynolds
would disagree.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds shot himself for that one.
No, you know what? One of my biggest problems with one of the movies, because I like, it's been a while since I've actually seen it, but I was watching it at my friend's house. I think 11 or 12 because it came out in 2011. I think. Even as a kid, the CG was horrible. Even by 2011 standards, I just remember watching this and I was like,
I'm just laughing my head because you were 11, 12 in 2012, and I was in high school at that point. I think I would.
You're so old, man.
I'm an old man. Let me be 22. I'm 23.
Oh man, but the reason, like as I said though, with Marvel, this is what I do like about them. They can actually balance things out so much better than DC. Like in Infinity War, I didn't think I was gonna like it because I don't usually like movies with multiple plots going on, and I know, but they, despite what some people said, I thought they balanced it pretty well. And like it took forever for T'Challa to come in. And I had a huge crush on him for a while when Black Panther first came out. But yeah, but still with Marvel, I definitely think they can balance better. With DC, like I told you, my friend dragged me to see. Well, I actually saw it recently. Batman versus Superman, because people were telling me it was pretty bad, and so many of my friends had seen it and they were giving reviews. I'm like, oh, I should see this. I'm like, I felt like I was gonna fall asleep.
Oh, no.
The plot was horrible.
One of my friends trying to defend that movie went, you just need to see the director's cut. It makes sense then. It's like, there's your problem. It makes sense then with the director's cut. What did they cut?
Batman versus Superman.
Oh, no, it was trash.
Yeah, exactly.
It was trash. Yeah,
I thought it was stupid with the whole Martha thing. Like, one of my friends...
My mother's name is Martha.
It's just like one of my friends are going like, oh, they did the same thing for Civil War. It's like, no, Civil War, they built up to that and like...
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Civil War was amazing.
Aquaman's coming out in 2018 in the UK.
Aquaman is one of the...
Aquaman.
It's coming out soon.
Basically thirsting after Jason Momoa, the movie.
Yeah, basically, I was scrolling through like some feed and it said in 2018 in the UK. I don't know if it's being released in the US. Aquaman's coming out in 2018, and then someone commented, "What did the UK do to deserve this?" I lost it.
Who's really
1776.
Hey, he talks to fish, guys. That is important.
He is a...
He talks to fish.
Hey, in the comics, he deals with Cthulhu every year.
He's a mermaid.
Again, I read the comics, so I mean,
in the comics, he's a badass. And they got Jason Momoa, who is also a badass. Like, one of my favorite things about Jason Momoa. Like, I saw a Facebook video of him drinking a beer and throwing axe. And it's like, that's Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa. The definition of manliness.
Oh, she has a question for us. Right after.
You actually have a phone call from your mother. So, in your opinion, what do you think the X-Men actually stand for?
Okay, I'm going to be biased. I actually, when my friend who I admire, who I love very much, got me into the X-Men movies, whenever I would go to her house, we would watch them.
I used to like them.
And the third one, I didn't like that much because it's just the plot. It was kind of trash. But Charles Xavier, I just like, because there's so many jokes made about, like when Frozen came out, they made a joke saying Elsa should have been sent to the school. Yeah. Again, I personally do like X-Men. I do think that there could be some improvements with how they develop the characters, because I think it was the third one where they just had a sudden character. Again, it's been a while since I've seen it. Came out and just said, "Oh, I'm the hero," but she had no development. Yeah. So I was like, "What?"
Well, the X-Men, historically, I mean, in the past, was an allegory for civil rights and black people gained their civil rights, all that. And then in the 90s and 2000, it was an allegory for gay rights and all that. And especially the movies in the beginning, like one of the scenes that was, I have a lot of friends in the LGBT sphere, just like, have you tried not being immune? Some of my friends have had that kind of thing to them. And the movies, like, the first one was good, the second one was great, the third one sucked, and then after that there was a lot of mediocrity, and then Logan, oh my god, that movie was amazing. It was a neo-Western that was also a superhero.
Side comment, I know people are going to get really mad when I say this, I have yet to see Deadpool, and I know I need to see it. The second one.
Alright, I'm leaving.
You should see it.
I want to, Because
it's a fun like deconstruction and parody of the superhero.
yeah, I know. I heard it's hilarious, and I really want to see it. I haven't seen because my friend had Deadpool 2. Was like, you see it? I'm like, oh, I haven't even seen the first one, and then he got really mad at me.
You should. And I love Domino in that movie. She was just amazing in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, I guess you could say that's another issue I have with.
Oh, she was amazing.
I'm gonna say she looked up.
Okay, I'll let her.
I got her.
Oh, you taking the mic now?
No. I was not the proudest of them.
Okay. But yeah, one of the things that this is something that annoys me about DC because when I was looking at Batman vs Superman, they just had Wonder Woman show up 3 separate times, but for no reason, literally just to say, oh, she makes an appearance. There was literally no point to that. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, if you're gonna have her come, at least give her a purpose or something. It just at least with like the Marvel, they have a purpose for them being there. Like again, in Infinity War, when they talk through, this is what we need to do. This is what you need to do. When when I saw it with a group of people the second time, that was people were because we all knew it was gonna happen, so everyone was just screaming out comments, and it was the funniest. It was the great night.
Yeah.
Still. All right. Any other? Which? Oh man, I was about to bash Suicide Squad, but my sister went through it.
All right, time to bash Suicide Squad.
All
I'll
right.
take the lead. Suicide Squad
Don't
is a
bash it.
fun, bad movie. I say
Oh.
fun because I enjoyed just how like it was stupid and it was like, oh, this is so fun to.
They only won an
look at.
Oscar for the makeup.
Oh,
That
yeah.
doesn't mean your movie's
It
good
was
if you
a
just won
bad
makeup.
movie. Like the
It doesn't
story
mean-
was trash. Most of the characters were trash. Like the only 2 characters who were good were Deadshot and Harley Quinn. Oh, someone have something to say.
Why do you
I actually like the movie a lot, so
I feel like the most hate mail we're gonna get is not even because we talked about politics. It's just gonna be angry fans because we're like trashing their movie.
I mean, it was laughable
Yeah.
in a way. I feel bad.
No, say what you gotta
You
say.
guys. I mean, I guess the only part it was pretty okay. It's not something I'll go watch every single day now, but it was like, yeah, okay, because the action beats.
Yeah, the action piece. Oh,
They're coming out with a Suicide Squad 2.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna watch that.
Suicide
No.
Squad 2 now.
My thing
But yeah, I agree. The
I had-
action was fun.
again,
Now the way they had the characters was terrible.
the cliche. It was just too. When the ending was just. I felt like a fan fiction writer took over for that. I'm like, geez, I felt like it was a
This
fan
was-
fiction.
Right.
It just ended with the power of friendship. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
And that's not how it is. And the Joker and Harley Quinn, that's not really their relationship.
Again, I never read the comics, but I had a lot of friends tell me that that wasn't the case at all.
If you
He's
guys want a
abusive.
good Suicide Squad movie, watch Escape from Arkham. It's a great movie. You also get the characters acting like their characters,
Okay.
and Harley almost shooting Joker in one scene.
Okay. Oh, she wants the mic. Also, keep in mind, guys, you can also ask us questions about politics too. We're just going.
I also feel like Suicide Squad had a rushed storyline, and it was just like it really did. Like the beginning was just so rushed. They were talking about like the witch and her heart was taken or whatever, and then all of a sudden the Suicide Squad is like assembled. It's just a bunch of rushedness, and I
The
just couldn't do
Enchantress
it.
for me, I was like, why?
She wasn't even
Right.
really at this point.
No, when they were like, we have her in a when like, oh good, the Enchantress could have literally fixed all this, but they were like, oh yeah, we have one security guard looking after her in a hotel room. I'm sure that nothing will go wrong there.
No, it. I enjoyed like the scenes when they were in the prison. Like that was because it was more character stuff, and like they had a chance to actually act like their characters, and you didn't have Killer Croc saying stupid lines like "the sewer's where I'm from" and "what do you want?" BET. It's like that stuff would just.
I'm
It was
sorry,
stupid.
Boomerang was laughable.
Boomerang.
That was just laughable.
Okay, he was also funny. It's just like stealing the beer and all that.
His
but-
character just throws a boomerang.
And then there was Slipknot, who was introduced and immediately killed off to try and make it
That made
seem
no sense.
that it's what we mentioned earlier, so killing off characters.
Just to make an excuse to have someone die.
Yeah, just like, oh, we're deep because we killed off a character. It's
No.
like, no, you're not deep. You're just,
Yeah.
you literally introduced him just to kill him off.
That makes no sense because it doesn't get people the time to actually know
Get
and
to
love
know
the
him.
character.
Right.
I mean, if they decide to kill off like Deadshot or Harley Quinn, that would have been shocking.
Oh my gosh, that would have been the worst thing ever.
It would have made people actually go like, oh,
Well, damn.
well,
Man,
that's different.
When I was done, okay, when I finished watching Infinity War, okay, keeping this in mind, I tell this story because I think it's really funny. When I went to see it, I was with my friends and we were watching it, and someone in our theater was like, "Where's Wonder Woman?" And I was like, and the funny thing is, when I don't want to, you know, if you haven't seen it by this point, it's your fault. I'm sorry.
It made a lot of money. It's really popular.
No, I had to
It's-
log off
people
of
should've
Twitter
made it.
before I saw it because people were tweeting out the ending. So I like of how it ended. And then I texted my friends. I felt like I needed to go to therapy after that movie. I literally wanted to go to a doctor or something. Be like, look.
Stream, I don't feel so
Oh,
well.
good. Oh, no! Anyone who doesn't get that reference, please log off right now. No. Oh my goodness, no. Do you
I
guys?
did cry.
I did too. Do you guys know those like memes where like before you see the movie and then after the movie you get them?
Yeah.
I saw the Squidward one and I was like, oh, I wonder what this means. And then I saw it and I like went back online and checked all my references and I was like, oh, I get it now. And except for Captain Marvel though.
I haven't saw the trailer for it yet. I've been busy with a lot of other stuff.
My boyfriend sent it to me. I need to check.
I heard it's gonna be great.
I heard it is too. And one of the things, my friend, when they were staying for the after credit, because some people were I feel bad for the people at this movie theater, by the way, because they had already been through this and it was like the latest showing. They just wanted to go home. And everyone's just sitting there for the after credits. They're just standing there with trash bags like, please leave, please leave. But,
Yeah.
all right, what time?
Oh, I was actually going to say, here's another thing that'll make you feel bad about Infinity War.
Okay.
You know what Groot's last words were?
Wasn't it Dad or something?
Yeah, he looked to Rocket and said that the Russo brothers confirmed that Groot's last words were Dad when looking at Rocket.
No.
Oh, wow.
I saw a
I'm gonna
really...
go back and watch it again. At this
I saw...
point.
No, dude, I saw a thing and it said the next Guardians of the Galaxy. It just showed
Oh.
a raccoon sitting alone in a road and I was like...
Oh, yeah.
How mad were you at Star-Lord? How mad were you at him?
I'm annoyed, but it's like I'm worried now about Guardians 3 because they fired James Gunn and threw out its script, and it's like, oh,
They fired him?
Yeah, they fired him
Why?
because of some tweets and the fact that a lot of people didn't like his politics, so they drug up a lot of his old tweets and tried to.
I heard about that, where people were digging up all this old... Yeah, that's the thing.
when he was doing stupid, edgy shock jock humor.
Okay, here's the thing. Like,
That's a
these people that are doing this probably don't even have a right because they've probably said really stupid... Or, like, imagine if we went up and dug everyone's stuff up and then
Well, it's
nobody could do
Oh, yeah.
anything.
Unless it's actions that dug up,
Oh,
I
yes.
don't think, like, a stupid joke, it's like, people are stupid, they make horrible jokes. We've all made bad jokes, and one of the things that you're supposed to do is acknowledge, say, yeah, that was a shitty joke, I was a dumbass. Let me grow up and be a decent person and actually
Mhm.
grow from that.
One of the funny ones, though, like, I don't know if anyone... I really think we need to bring back, like, funny humor again because I feel like everything is just so... Like, I was watching... I was with some of my friends and we were listening to Chris Rock stand-up. It was like the 90s. This is like the 90s where you could say anything and get away with it. And I was laughing till my stomach hurt. I had tears. Like, it was so funny. Like, he like went there and he made fun of every race, like both gender. He went all out, and it was funny. And I talked to him like,
There's still funny humor. Like, Bo
Yes.
Burnham had some.
Robin Williams,
Oh,
his
yeah.
stand-up.
One of my
Rest in
favorite
peace.
comedians, kind of go off of your whole Blair White thing, makes fun of both sides. Bill Maher, I love his stuff.
I love it when people make fun of both sides.
Yeah, well, Bill Maher also, it's just like, that's one of his big things, like, liberals learn to take a joke. So don't make this the hill we die on.
No, did you see? I saw a link on like Ben Shapiro's thing where it said some people were getting mad at Family Guy because it was an offensive show, and I'm like, look.
Get mad at it because it's a stupid show that went on too long.
Yeah, it did. No, because like again, I never got
Even
into.
Seth MacFarlane wants it dead.
Bye guys,
Oh, bye.
we're about to log off soon anyway.
Yeah.
But
We're hungry.
you guys are hungry too.
I'm hungry, I'm dad.
No, not the dad jokes.
I will
But
make
yeah.
dad jokes and puns.
All right, well, we're about to
And
take
if
it
you
off.
guys are going to send me anything, make sure it's puns and dad jokes. I will love you forever.
All right, but before I log off, I just wanted to say, Declan, I appreciate coming out for my first stream. I think this went pretty well. This was fun.
We went on longer with the not politics stuff. I noticed.
I
But
know.
Hopefully, next time we talk, it'll be more
Yeah.
focused, and we'll have.
Yeah. Again, like what I like though about this too is that, again, like I feel bad because I was like excited to like kind of debate, and I thought I was gonna like own you, but I became like friends with you. So then I was like, I don't really want to like go on. So like if I ever have one of my friends come on and I'll do an actual topic, I'll have you maybe come in. You can help me moderate, maybe. Or...
well, you can also get a range of people to talk about it, and just two.
Which
people.
I think would be cool, but I need more mics and I'm broke, so that's probably not happening anytime soon. But before I go, guys, please, if you haven't, go check the GoFundMe page. I don't know how much we made. I haven't checked yet, but I'll check when I log off. But how much did we make?
I don't know.
Oh, what are you showing?
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Oh, don't forget to subscribe and like to Midline Media, and don't forget to subscribe to Our Free Right. You can follow them on Twitter as well. And please just go on our GoFundMe. We had $50 last I checked. Our goal is to get $150. This was fun. We'll probably have a more solid topic next time we'll debate, but I think I'm going to keep going with this thing where we do something we agree on at the end, because that was just fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It lets people realize that even though we disagree on politics, we can still talk and, get along as friends.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think we both agreed on, it's so divided now, and I'm just like, I like having friends that think differently than me. Like, if I had all my friends think the same, I'd just be bored. And
well, it also just makes your ideas worse. If you don't have someone to debate and to, find that whole Hegelic dialect of, you need to have the argument and counter argument so that you can try and reach the synthesis and the middle ground of what is best. And, I'm going all philosophical and smart at the end. Why didn't I do this in the beginning to make people think we're smart?
All right. Yeah. But that's awesome. Guys, check our GoFundMe. Follow us. Please. New articles are going to be coming out soon. One about the Kavanaugh hearing should be out this month. So just tune in. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we are logging off. Goodbye.